Good day. It's Dr. Loretta again, and here we are as we continue on in our self-care management course. In our course materials, we explored how we, as marketplace ministers and leaders, can frame a ministry model, a vital ministry model, a vibrant ministry model, framed and driven by our desire to be Christ-like in all we do. We acknowledge the belief that we are three-part beings: spirit, soul, and body. And what we have and how we behave toward God, self, and others can impact us in spirit, soul, and body. Our roles as marketplace ministers and leaders calls for us to be authentic, responsible, and aware of the times and the statistics as they relate to our need for self-care. We went on in our coursework to review resources as to how we, as responsible leaders, could evaluate the levels of stress in our lives, how we can identify compassion fatigue, and how we might plan for positive endurance, sustainability, and resilience through creating a self-care plan. We explored the spiritual background into how our souls and minds can be affected by stress symptoms and indicators. We discussed 4 fundamental questions of life, looked at Maslow's hierarchy of needs as it relates to our areas of influence, and we established a good understanding of psychological first aid. In this next section, we'll discuss how our physical bodies can bring a natural sense of awareness that reveal stress symptoms and indicators. In review, our minds, which we call the area of our souls, can function as the central information processing hub and serves as the only part of our beings that pass between both the physical and spiritual parts of our body. So, by way of analogy and example, imagine that our minds, right in the center of us, are the information that we receive through our senses, through what we watch, what we hear. What comes into us goes through a process through the mind as we think. I call it the information hub. But on this side, we have spirit. On this side, we have body. And I think the key component is that I'm trying to articulate is that what comes inside our minds will either tilt the scale either way to our spirits or our bodies. And if we fill our spirit tanks for what we put in us through our minds, our thinking, and we know that the spirit side of us will go up. Or if we're more carnal and fleshly, we know that we can see more of our flesh taking control of our minds and our spirits. So our goal today is to really look at some scripture and talk about ways through 1 Thessalonians 5:23, in understanding that as a spirit, soul, and body being, we need to mind each component and each dynamic of our being. We need to take thoughtful care for what comes in. We need to take thoughtful care of the symptoms and indicators that we see in spirit, body, and in mind, and find ways through a self-care plan that we can evaluate decreasing levels of stress, decreasing symptoms and indicators that keep us well checked and have better balance in our lives and our ministries.